Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Ready, set, I'm gonna do it. Welcome to the Superhost podcast, boys and girls. I'm your host, Frank Barletta. Joining me today is the district manager at ADP and a person who only responds to my LinkedIn shoutouts at 3 a.m., Mr. Matt Buster.
Hey, Frank.
Matt, great to have you today. Appreciate it. In today's episode, cleaning fees are high and double bookings is one of the top 10 biggest complaints from guests. What? But we begin today with the recent news from Airbnb that they're celebrating 1 million superhosts. Superhosts are described as a host that provides outstanding hospitality experiences to guests. So basically, 25% of all hosts actually do their damn job. Matt, why is a superhost even an award? And in your own words, why are you a superhost?
Yeah. So great to be here, Frank. Um, and like we said before when we were just chatting, I'm no expert. I'm new to this, but I'm really enjoying it and loving it. So my wife and I have been super hosts since January of 2023. We
Nice.
opened
Welcome
our,
to the club.
yeah, we listed our casita in September. So took us about 4 months to get to Superhost, which we're really proud of. We worked very hard. And I think really what that badge of honor means is it gives you more visibility on the platform. So guests are going to be looking for properties. If they see you're a Superhost, they can have that extra bit of trust, knowing like this person knows how to handle a booking. I'm not going to get canceled on for a random reason. My stay is going to go smoothly. If there are problems, because inevitably there are, this host isn't going to like push off the blame. They're going to take responsibility and take care of me. Um, so yeah, we're excited because just the day we became Superhost, we saw an uptick in like our February. This is our first month that's been 100% booked. Um,
Crazy. That's awesome. And I'm very, very happy to hear that.
yeah, yep, every night.
Yeah.
So it definitely makes a difference.
Sure. And full disclosure, I'm also a superhost, but I'm baffled on this one. I'm basically being rewarded for doing the most basic thing that I believe a host should be doing. And it makes me a bit happy and sad that, for the industry, right? It's great that there's this recognition and we get rewarded for it, but it's sad that this is an actual thing. And I'm going to go to the notes because I took some notes in this one, okay? So the criteria for a superhost is you have to have a 4.8 out of 5 rating. Okay. So you have a clean home and you got to be a nice host. You have to have at least 10 bookings completed, right? It doesn't matter the time. It's either a night or, however long. So 10 different guests, right? Different sessions, right? Less than 1% cancellation. So don't cancel on people. And you have to respond to people within 24 hours, right? There's a 90% rate that you have to keep over, right? So to me, it's basically like you're doing your job. Why is it so hard for a host to be able to achieve this? Because I'm no superhero, but to me, this is quite easy. And I even have more astonishing facts. I want to pass it back to you. I mean, like, the criteria of being a superhost. I've been a superhost since, I think, 2020. So I've been very fortunate to keep it going. But it's because I'm doing what is expected, what any guest would expect from staying at any place, right? Your parents' house, a hotel, and
Right.
a B&B anywhere. Like this is a hostel, like a clean place to go, and you have the access you need, and it's not a giant pain in the ass. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, Frank. I agree. I mean, I think something like a friend of mine told me is like if I'm going to a $200 a night Airbnb, I want there to be a little something extra sometimes. Like, yes, I expect it to be clean. I expect the listing to accurately present what the property is and not over promise and under deliver. But that's something I've tried to do is just give like a little extra something to each guest. So that can be different for everyone. For us, it's we have a favorite local chocolate shop down the street. I'll give them a plug. Monsoon Chocolate in
Ooh.
Tucson, Arizona. Um, and we just put that $10 chocolate bar right there on the table for each guest that has like a week stay or longer, and they love it. I mean, my
That's
wife loves,
nice.
yeah, my wife loves to bring flowers in there every once in a while and just have it like a welcoming space for them. So just
Very
any
nice.
little touch like that that makes it feel like, oh, someone put a little extra thought and care, and it wasn't just like, okay, they turned it over and did as little as possible. I think that's been some of the difference. But I think you're right as well that um, why aren't there more super hosts? um, it's not that hard. I mean, there's definitely difficulties. Don't get me wrong. Um, I think there are guests that will give you a low rating because they broke a rule and you charge them a fee for it. And thankfully, Airbnb is pretty good at responding to stuff like that. We had a situation where someone gave us a 3-star. Eventually, Airbnb removed the review because it was against the policy. But so there are struggles like that. But I think mostly it's just like being consistent, having a plan set up. For us, it was hiring cleaners and not trying to do it ourselves like we were at first.
Yeah, I definitely hear that. I'm sorry that you had that experience. So we're over the clock, but I'm going to just throw out some stats out there because I think these are astonishing. 5% of superhosts are under the age of 29. Between 30 and 39, 25%. Between 40 and 49, 25%, and 60 plus at 20%. So it's telling me a little bit about the younger crowd that are hosts, super hosts. I'm not sure the exact number, but this is global. So anyone who's under the age of 29, only 5% of them are super hosts. And on top of that, the all of the hosts in the world, Puerto Rico has 41% of their total hosts as superhosts. The US is trailing behind at 34%, Korea 30%, United Kingdom 28%, Canada 26%. So that's astonishing to me because it tells me that if there's a million hosts in the US, only 300,000, maybe a little bit more, are superhosts. So
Wow.
700,000 of them are asleep at the wheel. What's going on?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to move on to the next topic. So, in recent news, there's been a public outcry for cleaning fees and the experiences or the requests being egregious. Matt, are these guests really appalled by the cleaning fees and what's going on? Are they having bad experiences? Is it a few bad apples and experiences? And is the media blowing this out of proportion? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And I mean, really, I can only speak to my experience and the experience of other friends of mine that are hosts. But
Hmm.
in my experience, it's never been a complaint. We do keep our fees low. For our casita, we charge $50 per stay cleaning fee. We've never had anyone complain.
How many square feet? How many rooms is that? Out of curiosity.
Yeah, it's 344 square feet.
Okay, so
Um,
it's appropriate for the size. The fee is
yeah,
appropriate for the size of the unit.
yep,
Great.
absolutely. Um, and I think at first we never received bad feedback, but when we started, we were asking guests to take sheets off the bed, put towels in a pile, clean dishes, just a list of stuff. Um, and we were still charging the $50 cleaning fee. We never had anyone complain, but after a couple of weeks of that, my wife and I were like, this just feels weird, like charging someone a fee and then asking them to do some cleaning. Like, I think our guests would really enjoy if they could just like leave it and head out to their trip and not have to worry about, oh, did I hit this checklist? Did I hit this checklist? So we ended up throwing away the checkout duties we had assigned to our guests. We shortened it to, hey, leave this key on the fridge and make sure to leave this gate unlocked. That's it. Our cleaners are going to take care of it all. And so I thankfully we've never had any complaints, Frank, and I think I've heard stories of like misuse of cleaning fee where people are like, was cleaning fee was like $400 for a 2 or 3 bedroom house that just inappropriate amounts being people being taken advantage of. And so I definitely hear the cry. Thankfully we haven't experienced any pushback.
Yeah, I mean, for anyone who has used Airbnb or VRBO, the cleaning fees are right there in front of you. So if you book, you know what you're paying for. There's no ambiguity in that. What I've read in the media is there have been requests for guests, let me get this right, to mow the lawn if they're staying on a Saturday and do the dishes and still charge a cleaning fee. In those cases, I don't agree. Like that, first of all, that's ridiculous. If you can't get someone to mow your lawn, mow your damn lawn yourself. Like that's
Yeah.
not a responsibility of a guest, unless you're going
Yeah.
to pay them to do it. Because that could be a service. Hey, you want to clean before you go? We'll pay you instead of you paying the cleaning fee. That's Airbnb. You should take that. Brian, just give me a call. In any case, I'll share my experience, right? So I don't have anyone complaining about cleaning fees. I'll give you one home. So the home is about 1,800 square feet. It's a 2 bed, 3 bath. It's 2 levels. It's a lakefront home. Okay. Uh, we charge $190, I believe, and that's what the cleaning team charges me. It's directly passed through. I don't make money on this. I have no intention of doing that, right? Oftentimes, the goal is when I ask a guest, here's your checkout instructions. The main thing is like turn the fireplace off, turn the ovens off, make sure the fire pit and barbecues are all off. That's requirements. I will ask guests because my cleaning team asks for speed so that they can do the job more efficiently. If they can strip the beds, leave it on the floor, and towels leave on the floor. I don't ask them to wash dishes. I don't even ask them to put them in the dishwasher. And if they don't do that stuff, that's okay. We ask if you can before you go. It would be appreciated. If they cannot, that's not they're not they're paying a cleaning fee. It is my team's job to get it done. If it's going to cost me a
Totally.
little bit extra to do it because it took them more time, that's my problem, and I'll take care of it because my goal is to uh, have provided the best experience for my guests. But to ask people to do silly things now, granted, these are just one-off articles. I've seen a bunch in Business Insider and Forbes that talk about, hey, people are complaining about the cleaning fees, but this is more of an economy slash workforce issue. Now I can definitely speak to vendors not being able to support customers in the way that they used to. There's a lot of the workforce, at least in New York, that's missing. So it's very hard to find good quality services these days. But for the most part, that's not the problem of the guests. That's my problem. That's the host's problem. And it's not something that we should ever pass on. So I'm hoping, because I know that Airbnb released a tool. If you remember correctly, it was a couple of releases ago. It might have been the winter 2022 release, where they make transparent pricing so that you know if you want to search for all-in price, you get the price of, hey, I want to pay only $500 for my entire trip, and it'll give
Yeah.
you cleaning fee and nightly rate all bundled together so you can see. Unfortunately, you're not as a guest going to find much because if you're looking for something that's more affordable, there's still going to be this cleaning fee because it still needs to get done. It's still a service, right? So I don't know how well used the tool is. I actually remember a conversation that they looked into it and there wasn't much use from the tool so far. There's not much inventory from it, so it may be just an unused feature right now, at least in the markets that I'm in. But for the most case, it's just don't be egregious. Do the right thing by the guests, of course, and anyone who's trying to make money on the cleaning fees, like that's just stupid. I don't know why.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Any last comments on that before we hit the bell?
No, no, I think I'm learning from you, Frank. I mean, I like the idea of saying like, hey, if you want to strip the beds or you want to do this or that, something that's going to help my cleaner, but not requiring it. That makes sense. That way, I mean, there are people that love to do that. Like I know my mother-in-law, every Airbnb she goes to, she loves to leave it like spotless. I'm like, you don't have to. And she's like, oh yeah, I like to. And so there are people that
Yeah.
will want to do that kind of thing.
Yeah, we have we're over the bell, but we closing comments on this. We have guests that do that all the time. In fact, some that just left today just said, "Hey, left. I put a load of laundry in. We just wanted to do it." Like I always say, like you didn't have to do that. That's not a requirement, but like thank you. Guests oftentimes want to treat your home like it's their home. That's the whole purpose behind Airbnb in the community. It's not just a hospitality business. It's not just a hotel, right? You're going to someone's home, they're sharing it with you. Obviously, there's a business behind it, but people treat it as if it's theirs, and that's the whole enjoyment of Airbnb and its brand. Okay, so I'm going to go to the last topic, and this is a fun one. So, according to customer success professionals at Airbnb, double booking is one of the top 10 biggest complaints for guests. Matt, we both live in the year 2023, right? Just want to make sure. How is
Yeah.
this even possible?
Yeah, it baffles me. Um,
Baffles me.
so I'm curious, Frank, is that from, I'm guessing that's hosts that have their property listed on multiple sites and haven't synced them across the sites properly.
I would assume so. So
Yeah.
this data is from Airbnb customer success professionals,
Hmm.
and they're sharing that the guests are filing complaints like, "Hey, I'm at my stay, and there's already people here. What the fuck? Help me! Like I just drove
Yeah,
3 hours to get here. What happened?" So like, holy shit, that's horrible for the guest.
yeah, that's crazy. I've never had that experience, thankfully.
Do you use multiple platforms, or do you use just
I
Airbnb?
do. I use Airbnb and Verbo right now.
Yeah.
And
How do you sync the data across? We'll give some plugs to the companies,
yeah,
the features that
absolutely.
exist.
So I currently use Hospitable. Hospitable will block out my calendars on Verbo and anything books on Airbnb. So
Cool.
I've never had a double booking issue. Shout out to the Hospitable team; they're awesome, and the platform's great. So um, I mean I could spend a lot of time on just that platform alone, but that's how I sync everything. No issues. How about you,
Cool.
Frank? Has anything come up? Any double booking
Yeah.
issues?
Yeah. So never had any double booking issues just because I realized if I'm going to go put this on two platforms, how the hell do I make sure that I don't have that issue? That was just a common sense thing, at least to me.
Yeah,
Initially, before I used any type of tools, Airbnb and VRBO both have an import export feature where you can plug in a calendar from the other competitor. So like that's easy, and it did it. I haven't had any issues.
yeah,
These days, I use Guesty
yeah,
um, primarily for the cleaning maintenance feature because the text messaging and all that stuff. I wanted to use something simple for me to communicate with the management my management team. Um,
yeah,
it does the calendar syncs through the tool. It's nothing sophisticated. It just makes sure that the calendars are all synced up. I have never had an issue. Even when people cancel, it removes it. I may have had to kick it once or twice, just because I was watching or trying something and I noticed it may not have sync up. So I wouldn't say that these tools are 100%.
yeah,
So there is some level of human touch that has to be there. But like, I just, so first of all, I apologize to all of the guests globally who have had this issue because it's shit and you shouldn't deal with it. And I'm a guest too. When I travel, I stay at short-term rentals. So if I had this happen to me, I would be beyond frustrated. I have kids. I have two young kids. If I'm traveling somewhere and I show up with my kids and this happens, first of all, my wife's going to murder me. And secondly, I'm going to murder someone. Because in all honesty, it's just when you're traveling family, the last thing that you're thinking about is some unknown like this coming and completely blindsiding you. It's a horrible experience. Um,
yeah,
and with the tools that are available today, I don't think that this should happen. Now, I want to point out that I saw in our first topic, we're talking about Superhosts. Now, Airbnb created this program called the Airbnb Setup. I believe it's called Setup. And what they do is if you're a new host, they pair you with a superhost to walk you through, hey, these are the things that you should be doing.
Hmm.
They're attributing this program to their success of hitting a million superhosts. So good for them for paying ambassadors to teach other hosts how to be a host. But it's still crazy that only, what do we say, 25% globally of all superhosts, 25% of all hosts are superhosts. So I'm sure this happens, and it's probably more common than we know. That's not
Yeah.
making the news. That should make the news.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Ridiculous. Okay, anything else you want to talk about on this topic?
No, no, we covered it.
Sounds good. Matt, on behalf of the Superhost podcast, thank you very much, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We had a great time today. We'll see you next week. Thank you.